Hey, what is up, everybody? Platform Disciple here with another Weird Card Wednesday, and today we're looking at a 1-mana instant that removes any permanent from the game and draws you a card. Sounds pretty broken, but it has a very distinct drawback. Card is Telim Tor's Edict. It is 1 red. It is an instant. It is a rare originally printed in Mirage, and the card reads, remove from the game target permanent you own or control. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So the huge drawback here is it is excellent removal at killing your own stuff. Anyways, the updated rules text is slightly different. It reads, exile target permanent you own or control. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. And the difference there is that it says exile instead of remove from the game. That is just a change in some of the terminology. Older cards say remove from the game, newer cards say exile. But anyways, the card is maybe the best card in the game at what it does, which is killing your own stuff. But the question is, when do you want to do that? And the answer is that this card is a card you can either use to exile cards that you have gained control of that were your opponent's. Like if you play Act of Treason on a card, you can then exile the creature before your opponent regains control of it, or you can exile cards that your opponent has gained control of from you. But because the card is so niche, it doesn't see really any play because those scenarios don't come up as often as you would need them to do for this card to be powerful. But anyways, this card is quite interesting because it has the word own and control on it, which brings up the distinction between these two things. If you control a card or a permanent, it means that you are the one with it on your side of the battlefield, or you were the one who was casting the card, but that is different from owning the card, which means that the card began the game in your deck. With a couple of additional rules. There are a couple other ways you can own a card. One is if you are the one who brought a card from outside the game into the game, using a card like Living Wish, that is a card you own. And also, if there is a token on the battlefield, the owner of the token is the one who had the token enter the battlefield under their control, regardless of who controls it now, and also regardless of where the token came from. So for example, if I play Hunted Dragon, I am the owner of Hunted Dragon, but the tokens it produced are owned by my opponent because they entered the battlefield under my opponent's control. So just an interesting little distinction there. And what about applications for this card? I did find somebody who had actually taken it upon themselves to find a use for this card, which is Matt Ness, who I will post a link to a video of him playing a legacy deck that runs Telim Tor's Edict. From what I have gathered, it is mostly a fun deck as opposed to very competitive, but the goal of the deck is to get a Blood Moon out, then play Dark Depths, which will enter the battlefield as a mountain, and because it enters the battlefield as a mountain, the Dark Depths enters with no counters on it, so then you can Telim Tor's Edict your own Blood Moon, and when you do that, the Dark Depths will have no counters on it, and you will get the 2020 Indestructible Marit Lage token much more easily than you would be able to if you paid the actual cost to remove the counters. So it is a fun deck, interesting deck, maybe the best use of this card, but still, unfortunately, Legacy is a format that has such powerful decks that even though this strategy is quite good, there are other decks that are just more efficient. And the other place you could expect to see this card, but surprisingly not many people have picked up on it, is Zedruu, who is a commander card that incentivizes giving cards you own to your opponent, so you will be able to remove them from the game, which Zedruu cannot do. When you're playing Zedruu, you could although not everybody plays Zedruu this way, give your opponent a very large, powerful creature and manipulate your opponent into using that creature to attack for you. And you can hold Telemtor's Edict in your hand in the event that they ever try to betray you. You can get rid of your own guy before it becomes a threat to you. But EDHREC, which is a website that keeps track of commander deck lists, shows that very few people are actually using Telemtor's Edict in Zedruu, which surprised me, but that would be the place to use it in my opinion. And that pretty much wraps it up for Telemtor's Edict. Very unusual card, very interesting, not many applications, but it is a fun one. And I do have a giveaway for this video. I will put the link in the description to that, but today I will be giving away a Boartusk Liege, which I altered years ago. It is a pretty good altar as far as altars I have done go. It is a little interesting because not all altars have the floating border. As you can see, most altars will paint over this border here. So it looks pretty unique as far as altars go. Some people prefer the fully blended border, but it does look pretty cool. So if you have any interest in that whatsoever, sign up in the description. There will be a link to that. So yeah, that wraps it up, everybody. And I hope you have a nice day. Until next time, peace out.